Okay, good. Everybody's well. Good morning. Hope everyone is doing amazing. Okay. I think we're good. Andy, tell me if we're not good, but I think we're good now. What day are we? What's today? Wednesday? Thursday? All good. Thank you, Andy. You can't tell. Hope everyone's having an incredible day, incredible week. We spoke yesterday. We've been really delving into this world of significance. Hopefully we'll close it out today. This concept that we're all after something. And we have to understand what we're after. We have to understand what's driving us. Because if we understand what's driving us, we'll know if we're getting it. And if we don't, we're just going to stumble around ourselves a little bit. And if we accomplish a goal, if the goal doesn't give us what we want, we haven't really accomplished the goal. This, by the way, is a great reason why lots of people feel empty. It's not because they don't have the stuff that they need to feel great. It's because they're not delving deep enough into the things they have to draw out the spirituality of the thing itself. So let's take like family. Family is filled with tons of spirituality, tons of meaning, tons of purpose. It could overwhelm somebody to a point in which they feel totally full. It could also not. It's the same kids, the same family, the same spouse, the same home. For one person could be overwhelmingly satisfying, and for the next person could be totally empty. And it has nothing to do with whether or not you're doing a good job. It's where the perspective is. It's what the goals are. It's where the value is being given. When you are if the goal is to deliver value and to be a giver, your spouse could be the greatest thing in the world that happens to you. If the goal is to take and to be significant in the eyes of others, your spouse may at best be just a partner as you collectively try to get people to look at you. Your kids may be to some the opportunity to really sharpen the sword of giving. But for others, it may be the thing that makes you least proud. Everybody knows of that kid who is just not following the rules, who is not looking like the rest of them. And to some, it's this incredible way for me to get better and stronger. And for others, it's like this stain, if you will. We won't say it out loud, but some families feel like that kid is like, so we'll focus our attention on the other kids because that kid, let the kid be okay. But we're not going to be proud of that kid because it doesn't fit into what we really need, which is significance given by others. And children could be symbols too. Why couldn't a wife and children be symbols? Why couldn't a husband, why can't they be? We can make anything a symbol. And we can draw anything into its core. Understand that most of what we want in life is right in front of our faces. It's because it depends on what that thing means to us. And if what it means to us is we're using it as a way to find our own significance. I'll go even further. If we're using it as a way to measure our own success, versus if we're using it as an opportunity for us to be of value to somebody, then that same thing that is in front of us isn't making us feel really as great as we can feel. Someone once said to me, I was on the phone with a rabbi not too long ago, and I was talking about marriage, and we have a marriage class for the Momentum guys every Monday night. Now we're in that season. So he was explaining to me this concept, and we talked about it on the class, how in many ways one's wife, I was talking to the guys, I'm sure it's the same thing for husbands, but one's wife is the proof of your value, because you could be the greatest guy in the world, but your wife is a piece of you. If you're not good to your wife, it's because, or your husband for that matter, it could be because you just don't have to be. Like, someone once told me this great story where her mom once, she remembers growing up, was yelling at the children, like the kid did something and her mom lost it. And as she's like, you guys, I'm going to kill you, the phone rang, right? She's like, and the phone rings and she goes, yeah, I'm going Hello. Hi, how are you? Uh-huh. Awesome. Get back to you. Right. So like what happened? What happened to mommy? The answer is this is mommy this is mommy in public. She has to be nice. Most people think that she's a psychopath if she screams on the phone. But to her kids, no one's gonna know the difference. Who you are in the quiet moments of your life is really who you are. I said this earlier on one of our shows, that you can measure the character of a person by how they treat those who they don't have to treat well. You could be the nicest guy in the world sitting across the table from somebody, but if you're not respectful to that waiter, that's who you are. Why? Because when you're a person of value, when you're looking to take every interaction that you have and be the giver of the interaction. Now remember, giver means sometimes in money, sometimes in compliments, sometimes it means in taking, because someone, or I should say in receiving. Sometimes it means in taking care of yourself. Some people go to bed to be stronger the next day. Some people go to bed because they just want to sleep. They're two different individuals. Now, in the physical world, this sounds ridiculous. But if you want to tap into the spiritual world, you have to understand that spirituality doesn't look at the act for the act itself. Spirituality looks for the act, for the intentions behind the act. There is no two acts that are the same. There is no two people doing the exact same thing and being connected in the same way. It doesn't exist in the spiritual world. That's right, Liron. If you practice in private, you'll reward in public. Very good. That concept, that idea that who we are exists in private, who we are exists in the intentions, changes everything in the world. Because the world outside is fine. It just lives in a very action-based world because there's no other way to measure it. There's no other way to measure effort. So you got to determine who has a better grade based on the points you scored on the test. There's just no other way to measure it. Not really. There's just no other way to measure if you're a good business person except for based on how much money you make. But in the real world, the world of what we're trying to feel, the world of the intangible energy that we're trying to tap into, the world where life feels fully satisfying, where we don't have to constantly shove materialism down our throats to maintain a sensory pleasure that's going to go away in 5 minutes. In the real world of greatness, it's relative. The great student may not be the one with the A. It may be the one with the C, because a great student to someone who cares about learning is about the effort that you put into it. And the more effort you put into learning, the more your mind changes. The more you see the world differently, regardless of whether or not you can spit back whatever language some teacher decides is important. And the great businessman is the one that's making a difference in people. Yes, you could be making money, but you're bringing value to people. And it doesn't matter if it translates as much as somebody else. There's some great businessmen out there that are killing people along the way. And there are others that may not have as much that are building people along the way. I couldn't imagine how the latter feels any less if they're really tapping into than the former. So how do we know this? So if you go into your workbooks, we speak about it. I don't know if I have it, if I can, here. This is my rituals. If you go into the workbooks, we speak about it. I'm just looking for it in my book because I don't have the workbook on me. In one of the things, in one of our sheets, we have the B. Remember we spoke about this idea of the ideal day. And in the ideal day, here it is. It's called exercise 2 and 3. I found it. So if you're in our workbooks, if you don't, just email me, Charlie at Charlie Harari. And if you're in our workbooks, we have a thing called the ideal day. The ideal day is where you write a day into the future. And the more you're living in the future, like just living in your future world, and you're just recording what you're seeing, the more you're able to bring out what you want to be in life. Okay, that was really step 1. And if you go to exercise 2 and exercise 3, you have something interesting. You have what's called knowing your B. I think it's interesting. I don't know. Hopefully you'll think it's interesting. Knowing your B. And here's how it works. In this tool, you, after you're done with your ideal day, you go to the next tool. And the next tool is take the ideal day and put it next to you. And then there's another chart that basically asks you the following question. We're on page 178 of the book, where it asks you a question. What do you want to be? You see, if you can live in the ideal day, right? So let's just review for a second. The ideal day is where you go to a place in the future in your brain. That's the beauty of imagination. That's how God made us, right? So you go to a year from now. You go to 2 years from now, wherever the number is, wherever you go, right? And you're there. You're not sitting here going, that would be cool. That would be amazing. You're not doing that. You're going there in your brain and you're just looking around and you're recording what you're seeing. I wake up at this time. I live here. I have this type of house. I'm with these types of people. I'm in this conversation, right? You're recording what you're seeing in your imagination. This is called visualization. And for those who want the research behind it, just go back to the earlier shows and we've got a lot on or go into the book. This isn't kumbaya. This is hard research stuff. So you're in visualization now. So once you're there, you're done. Right. They think about it right. Exactly. Athletes do it all the time. You're done. Now you take the next tool. The next tool is that in the book, exercise 2 is now go back to your day and look at it. Just look at it as an outsider now. Someone's handing you a sheet, imagine, and saying, this is your ideal day. And in that thing, start to identify what you want to be from that day, right? Because that's what the ideal day is going to do for you. It's going to start to tell you what you want to be. I want to be a great parent. Well, how do you know? So it has here in the sheet. How do you know? Well, how do you know you want to be a great parent? Because half my day, I'm having the best time with my kids. Now, this is critical because if you're working 20-hour days and in your ideal day with your children, well, then it's important to know that what you really want to be in life is a better parent, and you're just not doing that, right? You may want to be like in the one that we have in the book is I want to be an author. Well, how do you know? Well, because in the ideal day, every time I do it, I think of the book that I'm writing, right? I want to be healthy. Well, how do you know? Well, because in my ideal day, I'm jogging, right? When you have your ideal day in front of you, what it's going to do is not just like, that would be cool if. Your ideal day is tapping into who you want to be. It's just doing it in a very practical, real life way. It's harder for someone to go, I want to be healthy. It's easier for them to go in a year from now. I can see myself waking up at 6 a.m. and jogging a 5-mile start my day every single day and coming home and eating a healthy breakfast. When you say that to yourself, you have to write down, I want to be healthy. That's what I keep on seeing that in my ideal day. You keep on seeing something in your ideal day. You know what that means? That's what you should be doing. That's what you want to be doing. That's what it's in here. You keep on saying, I got to spend more time in my house. Well, guess what? If you're on the road all the time, like maybe not now, but like typically, like that's a problem. If you keep on saying, like, I want to be closer to A, B, and C, then you got to make sure you know that. So your ideal day is trying to extract out what you want to be. But here's the next piece. And this is the hard one here. And this is where we are here. And then we're going to go into the next piece to this. But this is in 179 in the book, but this is exercise 3. This is much harder. Much harder. Much harder. And we're going to really try to crack this open. Because there's so much bias in this world. There's so much. You can do this exercise and it can mean nothing to you. And you can do it. The third exercise is that when you take what you want to be, you got to ask yourself, am I doing it to give or doing it to take? Right? I want to be healthy. Why? I want everyone to look at me when I wear clothes. It's okay. It's called being honest. That's attention. We'll talk about that next. That's the next thing on our list. Just like significance had the proper and improper significance, so does connection. If the goal of being healthy is because I want to live a certain lifestyle, I want to take care of my body, that's a whole nother world. I want to be an author. Why? Because I want to feel smart. I had this once where a friend of mine wanted to go get his degree, his his doctorate. And I asked him why. And he said, well, because I want After 3 or 4 whys, the answer was because I want to feel smart. And when in the world that I live in, like I just want to feel smart. I'm like, okay, go get it. But understand that you're getting it just so that someone else makes you feel smart. this is the work. Honestly, in my humble opinion, this is the work. This is the difference. This is what we call being self-aware. This is what we call being real. I'm not there. I'm just trying. But this is it, in my opinion. This is being real. Who am I? What am I striving for? Why am I doing what I'm doing? If we can't get there, we could be lying to ourselves. We could be biased to our own actions. Significance is when the arrows point out. Sophisticated arrow pointing out is not, I'm a shmata, I'm a rag. That's what everyone's worried about. That's just an unsophisticated way of seeing it. Your eyes, you could be giving to the world and taking care of yourself at the same time. You could be taking from the world and giving out money all day. That's the next level of thinking that we have to get to. That's when you become really self-aware. That's when decisions start going deeper on you, because you understand that I'm doing this for the wrong reasons. So I'll keep on doing it, but I'm not going to pretend that it's the right reasons. I'm not fighting with that person because I care about truth. I'm fighting with that person because I don't like being wrong. I just don't like being wrong. And I don't need to be right in front of them. I don't need to be wrong in front of them. I'm going to be right. Period. Right? I'm doing this because I don't want to look dumb. I don't care about whether or not I win. I don't want to look stupid. I'm not doing that because I don't want to risk me not looking smart. Maybe it's valuable. Maybe it's not. But that level of thinking begins to give us perspective as to why I do what I do. So let's just review and then we'll move on to the beginning of the next thing that we're going to hit here. At our core, we have a piece of us that wants to be significant. Significance is not going to be what people tell of us. Significance is going to be how we live our lives. You'll know you're truly significant when what you do on the outside and what you do on the inside is exactly the same. When you'll treat the fly, or maybe not, whatever, depending on the person. When you treat the kid in the house that needs you, that's young, with the same level of dignity and respect as you treat the most important person, when you get to that level of giving, being real, we reach levels of significance. The work that we have to do is digging. How do we dig? We spoke about the eulogy. We spoke about the ideal day. In the ideal day, we do it by writing it and taking it seriously. Then going back to it and saying, okay, I have a lot of stuff that I'm doing all day, but who am I trying to be here? Why am I doing this? What is this telling me about what I want to accomplish? What do I want to be when I look at this? If I were an outsider looking at this day, who is the 5 things this person is? And then, well, why am I being driven towards it? Even if you still drive towards it. It's better to know I'm being driven towards wealth so that I can feel important in my life than to think that you're being driven towards wealth because you want to give charity. That level of clarity is what we're talking about. Now, once we start this path, we got to go to number 2, which is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is connectedness, which is each and every one of us, as much as we can be giving to this world, we're not going to feel fully fulfilled unless we are connecting, unless we are connected to people. We cannot live in isolation. We can't be just sitting on a mountaintop and bestowing our benevolence on people and feel like that's going to make us feel fulfilled. That's only one piece, is significance and competence. The second piece is connectedness. And we need to know how to connect to people. There is a block that we live with today that is blocking us from true connection to others. And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow with God's help. All right, have an awesome day. Thanks so much. If you want the worksheet, you know how to get this. Charlie at Charlie Harary. For those who are listening, not live, you can always go, remember, on demand. Remember, this is on every morning on Zoom, Facebook, my Facebook, and Momentum's Facebook. It's also on demand afterwards on my YouTube page, Charlie Harary, and on my Instagram, and LinkedIn, and Twitter. All right. Have an awesome, awesome, awesome day. And with God's help, I cannot wait to speak to you again tomorrow.